Why is the Muslim Ummah facing a time of trials and tribulations? If we look into the Muslim Ummah as a whole, then we see that there is no peace, there is no tranquility amongst the Muslims. In a nutshell, as a whole, the whole Muslim Ummah is facing a crisis. Now the question arises, why? Why is the Muslim Ummah facing such a time? We see young brothers running away from their parents, looking for shelter homes. They rather live in shelter homes than rather staying with their parents at home. And I'm not talking from stories or incidents I've heard, but I'm talking from reality. Unfortunately, I've had Muslim brothers coming to me saying that I'm running away from home because I do not like to stay with my parents. I'm running away and I'm going to stay in a shelter the government are providing for me. Why are we facing such times? So the answers are many. There are many answers to this question. However, I'm going to, inshallah, give one answer that was mentioned by a prominent scholar by the name of Shaykh al-Hind, Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan rahimahullah. Who was Shaykh al-Hind? Who was Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan rahimahullah? Shaykh al-Hind, Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan rahimahullah, was the first student of Darul Ulum Deoband. Darul Ulum Deoband, which is situated in India, which is also known as the Azhar of India. He was a great luminary of his time, a great scholar. He rendered many services for Deen. After rendering many services for Deen, in that time, the British were ruling over the Indo-Pak subcontinent, in those days known as Hindustan. There was a conspiracy theory that took place in that time which is known as the Silk Conspiracy Theory. I will not go into detail regarding this conspiracy theory. However, Shaykh al-Hind Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan rahimahullah, he was sent to a jail in Malta, a place named Malta. He was sent to that jail because of this conspiracy theory. Now remember, he was sent to that Malta jail after rendering many services for Deen, after a lot of years, after facing people's problems, after facing people's situation, after knowing how the whole world works, he was sent to this jail. When he was in jail, in the Malta jail, he was contemplating, he was pondering, he was thinking over the state of the Muslim Ummah. He was deeply thinking that why is the Muslim Ummah facing such times? Why is the Muslim Ummah facing trials and tribulations? And as we all know, when a person is on his own in a room, there is no one around him, then he is able to think more. He is able to think more deeply. That is why when a person is, for example, preparing for exams, then he normally searches for a quiet place, a quiet room, so he can think more deeply. So remember, Shaykh al-Hind Maulana Mahmud al-Hasan rahimahullah, he was in Malta jail and he was thinking, pondering over the situation of the Muslim Ummah. Now why is the Muslim Ummah facing such trials and tribulations? When he was released from the Malta jail, a scholarly gathering was conducted for him in Deoband. The gathering was mainly of scholars. However, there were non-scholars present in the gathering. He is on the stage. He's about to mention why the Muslim Ummah is facing such trials and tribulations. So he says, I was in the Malta jail. I was pondering over the situation of the Muslim Ummah, that why is the Muslim Ummah facing trials and tribulations? Why is there no peace and tranquility in the lives of the Muslims? The gathering is struck by silence. everyone is struck by silence that a great luminary of our times, who knows what's going on in our times, is about to give us an answer to a question that all Muslims need to know about. So he says, I was pondering over the situation of the Ummah and why we are facing such times. I came to a conclusion, and he mentioned a couple of reasons. But the first and primary reason he mentioned that the Muslim Ummah is facing a time of trial and tribulation is that the Muslims have left the Quran. The Muslims have left the teachings of the Quran. It is as if the Quran holds no importance in our lives. We have, turned a blind eye to the Quran. We do not know the teachings of the Quran. We do not want to know what Allah the Almighty wants to tell us and orders us to do and prohibits us from doing. So this is the reason the Muslim Ummah is facing a time of trials and tribulations.